Alright guys, here we are, episode 89 of the High Performance Podcast. I'm here with Angus.
What's going on?
And we have a very special guest today. And all our guests are special. This one, maybe more so than usual, just because it's a different sort of guest. We had professional gamers on, esports athletes 2 weeks ago. Today we have...
As far as sports podcast goes, we're like the ESPN 12 of sports podcasts. We're just going all the obscure sports now.
Well, I feel like
soon
we
we'll
cover
be interviewing
everything.
like a basketball player or something.
Everything. Anyway, today we have Issac. I only know you as Issac Eats a lot because of your Instagram. Issac, welcome to the show. Let everyone know your last name if you want that out there. And yeah, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me, guys. My name's Issac Martin, so competitive eater extraordinaire.
Yes, and look, it's something that someone only mentioned to me the other week, like, would you guys ever get a competitive eater on? One of the boys at work, personal trainer.
Yes.
And I was like, 100% we would, because we have to think about so many different athletes to get on, and it's great to hear listeners' ideas, and he's like, this is the guy, shows me your Instagram, and I was like, well, there's a ton of delicious looking food on there, which I assume is a business venture, which we can get into as well, and he's like, search this guy. I think he saw you on Triple J. I think you did an insane burger challenge.
Yeah, against the girls.
So yeah, give us a bit more background, like how you got into competitive eating. Were you into other sports? Like, is it a sport? Do you consider it a sport? Were you in other sports when you were younger? Just everything. Give us a background.
All right. First off, I think it is a sport in the sense that there's a competitive aspect. There are rules and regulations. As far as I'm concerned,
it's more of a sport than Ninja Warrior. Let's face it.
Yeah. Let's be honest.
There it is, guys.
Our rigs are better too, so...
Well, dude, there's a lot of sauce on Ninja Warrior. Have you seen it?
There is.
And I'm not talking about the sauce that's going on your burger.
So I was into sport, always been into sport. I grew up in a small country town. Sport was a big thing. Grew up playing team sports and got... The only reason I really fell out of playing team sports was because the eating picked up. It's difficult to run around for 90 minutes on the pitch.
When the oranges came out at half-time, were you just hoovering the ball? Or?
Bro.
Is that where it all started?
I wasn't the most popular person at half-time, no. The red frogs disappeared pretty quickly. But more so just, you eat 3 or 4 kilos of food, and then even within 24 hours, you try running around on a pitch for 90 minutes, and it's not good biologically or to watch.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I got in, so that was up until like late teens, end of high school, kind of started falling in love with the whole American culture, aspirations to travel and stuff. Really picked up an affinity for man versus food. And so I went on a high school exchange program to America, saw the culture, the food portions, the whole, some would call it gluttony, I call it luxury lifestyle of Americans. And so then a year or two later, post high school, I started at uni, deferred, and went on a bit of a family holiday. And it was 3 or 4 week holiday, and because I deferred, I just had a lot of time on my hands. So I started planning stuff out, found some food challenges, went, you know what, like, what's there to lose? I'm in America, YOLO, I'll have a crack at it.
So just sort of
generic... So you just try and get yourself on the walls of some restaurants to start out.
Just some free meals.
Yeah.
The big challenge is if you finish it, you don't pay.
100%.
Sort of thing, yeah.
And we had a family rule at the time that was essentially, mum looked after the concrete expenses, the airfares, the accommodation, spending money, food, whatever you wanted to buy, that was on us, the children.
Fair enough.
So obviously I was a tight ass, and I'd been working at supermarkets packing shelves, so money wasn't like growing on trees. And I started realizing that a lot of these challenges were either eat free or a free shirt or a small cash prize, $50, $100. And so you do the math and you're like, all right, well, if I don't eat anything during the day before the challenge because I'm doing a challenge, and then I don't want to eat anything after the day, like after the challenge, because I've just eaten a lot of food, and I get all of that food for free if I'm successful, you've just gone the whole day eating a lot of food and not paid for any of it.
Yeah.
So that was the lure for me. And in that first trip, I got my ass handed to me on a couple of challenges, and I got close on a couple, and there was one challenge in particular in Hawaii. We went, and it was on the Man vs Food TV show. Like, I was really excited to have a crack at it. Went and did it the first day and was like, I just didn't attack it properly.
Was this the pancake challenge?
Yes. So this is Max 24/7. Yeah.
Yes, we had a listener question writing in. He's attempted this.
Yeah.
He says he wished he didn't get the walnut topping he reckons that the blueberry and cream one would have been better. So this is one of our listener questions already. So let's get into this.
What's the techers?
I did it with 2 different flavors. I think I tried not on the same pancake. So the first day I did it with the Elvis version one, which is like peanut butter and condensed milk and bacon, and that just like blew me away. It was like not only just the amount of food, but the sugar. Yeah, it gets to a point where your body, I'm not going to say diabetes, but like it starts getting sugar overload. Yeah, and so that was not just the amount of food, but the type of food. Like it knocked me over. I went back 2 days later with my mother.
Humbled.
Yeah, essentially went back 2 days later with my mother, and she tried the challenge in my support. She got the blueberry one, so I don't know how she went with it. She didn't finish much. But I tried the walnut one, and literally, I think you have like a 75-minute time limit. But I just was, having failed once, it was that like, I'm not leaving till I get it done mentality. So I finished the walnut flavor one in, I think it was like 35 minutes. I found
2.5 kilos of pancake.
Yeah, it's still a lot of pancake.
No veg, it's just straight starch and carbs and
with sugar, like garnishing it.
Because you would, I imagine you attack it with a lot of gusto, but then you have
because leptin and ghrelin, there's the delayed response. So I feel like, because I think there's about a 40-minute window before they regulate, as I understand it.
Most people are like 20-25, until the hormones kick in and say like,
so
stomach, I'm full.
Much like runners have a wall that they hit.
Yeah,
is 20 to 25
100%.
just the first sort of wall that you will typically hit?
Yep.
Does that change? Do you feel like you pushed that back over the years of competitive eating, or is it just something where you can't fight physiology?
No. So this, like, and this is where we get back to competitive eating being a sport. Like, I like in competitive eating, and there are 2 or 3 particular styles of competitive eating. Anything that's distance, either massive food or half an hour to an hour of time, it's like a marathon runner. Like, people ask me, do you enjoy it? Do you get full? Like, yes. Competitive eaters get full. They get stomach pain. They're not comfortable
just
during
like
challenges. Show me a runner who can run 50 kilometers and they're comfortable at the 35th K and like loving life. It's the determination or the strategy and knowing your body to get through that.
So just quick, is hot dogs almost like the most? Is that like the 100-meter sprint sort of version of this? Is that the most competitive format?
I think it's the most. Not regulated, but it's the most well-known and famous. The Coney Island Hot Dog Challenge has been going for over 50 years, I think.
When's that? What time of the year is that?
4th of July. Every year, 4th of July.
So it's like just a big celebration of freedom. Yeah. It's just blaring like Bruce Springsteen.
Like what is more American than
shirts?
And have you done that?
Look, I've done some hot dog challenges. The actual Coney Island one is it's like Olympic standard. They have like county qualifiers, regional qualifiers, state qualifiers.
Is that the big company that sponsors it?
Oh, yeah.
Oscar Mayer.
Yeah, so Nathan's and Oscar Mayer, I think,
is
collaborate
that
on it.
Is that an Oceania qualifier, or would you have to spend a lot of time in the States qualifying for
Look, it's I've only known of 2 people, one girl from New Zealand and one guy from Sydney that I think have been invited. There's no specific route for qualification as an Australian yet. Even though we've got some Nathan stores in Sydney now, they keep talking about there being a qualifier.
We'll see what we can do.
Let's peer pressure them.
Yeah, let's peer
pressure. Because we've already got the High Performance Golf Invitational. I'm sure we could have the High Performance Hot Dog Invitational soon.
It's one of those things, I don't know if qualifying, it's without disrespecting the Socceroos.
No, please disrespect them.
Down with Socceroos. No. It's one of those things where, like, it would be an honour to have an Aussie there. Do you want to put an Aussie amongst
royalty?
Yeah, and then show that disparity like that.
So there's levels to the game.
So in Australia, we've got one that's been going for 3 or 4 years now in Melbourne, and I think the record was set this year, a couple of weeks ago, at about 20 hot dogs, 10 minutes. Joey Chestnut and the guys in America are doing like 70 to 80.
So
in 10 minutes?
Yeah.
As I understand it, that's something that not somewhat recently got blown out of the water. There was a gentleman that rocked up and just exponentially beat everyone one year. Because it's like, so backstory to this question, one of my clients lost a lot of weight recently. He used to scratch the itch of not eating by watching online competitive eating competitions, watching them online. And he was saying that one year this guy just rocked up and he was the first one to separate the the dogs from the bun and blew everyone out of the water. And much like in high jump, how everyone went from the scissor to the flop instantly as soon as they saw the successfulness of the flop. Was that a landmark moment in the sport where everyone was like, okay, this is how you do it?
It's certainly, look, every competition, it's probably one of the biggest banes because there's no international body of competitive eating. There's no global regulation or anything. So every competition is like a little bit different here or there. Some competitions...
Is that not in the spirit of the hot dog eating if you separate it, are you saying?
It's kind of like asking if you pull a burger apart, is it still a burger? Like,
yeah, I feel you.
I feel...
Oh, sorry, I was just shotgun.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, that's...
I feel like you should... The eater in me says you're faster if you pull them apart, so if you're allowed to do it.
Yeah.
I think the purist in me and the person watching would rather see like whole hot dogs.
I like that, yeah. Good answer.
It is, as I said, the eater in me can see where it's time efficient to separate, because if you're eating two different substances, you've obviously got to deal with both of their different attributes at once. Whereas if you go, all right, I can eat a sausage one way, which I know is fastest, then I can eat the bun.
Like a pelican.
Exactly, yeah. And obviously, like you watch the pros, they're all dunking the carbs and the buns in water and stuff. So dunking with the sausage in, you're going to get less into the liquid than if there was obviously none in there and you could squish it up and do all sorts of things.
Just when I thought weightlifting was technical,
yeah,
I was
so
like on
much
my high horse. I'm like, all right.
Well, that's the thing, because everyone sees competitive eating, but they don't know the technique. They don't know the before and after, the pain. And like you said, it is just like you don't enjoy it. You're pushing your body like an athlete would past a certain level of pain, which like we take eating for granted, like we enjoy it.
Well, see, not really. I don't enjoy it. I've been on this dreamer bulk for 2.5 years, and it's just ruined food for me. So I'm actually interested to get some eating tips off you so I can up my calories. In sport, though, like as an athlete or as athletes, me and Oscar go through this heartbreaking thing of like, we're not necessarily the most genetically blessed athletes, so we have to sort of look at just honing our technique and stuff like that. But every now and then in sport, people come along with what we refer to as fuck you athleticism. So, in weightlifting, you're meant to pull slowly and controlled off the floor to explode at the last minute. That's commonly called like good technique. Having said that, sometimes you just get these freaks who rip it off the ground, technique goes out the window to an extent, and they can still just blow everyone out of the water. Much like Usain Bolt, like you shouldn't wiggle your head from side to side when you're sprinting, he just gets away with it because he's an absolute freak of nature. Do you get these people rocking up at eating competitions with, I guess, the eating equivalent of that, where they're just like, screw the techers, I'm a human pelican, let me just show you how it's done?
Look, 100. No, yeah, exactly. So some people, you're right. There's probably two categories. The guy with the less ability who just works really hard, and the guy who's never trained a day in his life and can just naturally like already go 10% more than the other guy. It comes down to, you're right, I think the gullet, like the whole gag reflex and throat. Because it's not just how big your stomach is, it's how much you can get down your throat.
Different orifices.
Safely. Yeah. Any hole's the goal. But
the thing is, you're willing to shelf the dog.
Yeah. So, can't be visible. But there are guys that I know, like I was in New York and I was doing a filming with a bunch of other competitive eaters, some Japanese guys, some American guys. We had an Aussie team and a British team. And I remember sitting in the hotel room and one of the boys, the captain of our Australian team, good lad on the Central Coast.
Fuck, I bet there's some characters.
Working in Gosford. He's that guy that can put like a 2-litre bottle of milk down in like 4 seconds.
What?
Because he's just got this ability. He literally tilts his head back, can open his entire throat passage, and with the essence of suction, like pushing, it literally just
goes straight down.
If you drink from a bottle of water,
it's so hard because I've been pounding 2 litres of chalky milk every day for like the last year.
You're a bitch though. You're like,
I'm like
2 hours
sipping away at it and like. To hear that he just vacuums it down like that, it just brings so much jealousy.
My question is, like, you instantly get 2 kilos heavier in 4 seconds. How does his stomach is his immediate response just to throw it straight back up, or is it in there?
Nah, it's in there. Like this is where like you guys would know from like progressive overload.
Yeah.
So obviously you want to get better at what you do. You've got to push yourself more and more. Yeah. And so 2 litres when he first did it might have been uncomfortable and wary. if he does it 3 times, he starts pushing 2.5, then starts pushing 3. So you're always teetering on that edge of discomfort or risk, but that is how you get better at what you do.
It's so just like you can train your bicep to curl, or you can train your internal organs to hold more. I suppose.
But like, what is it like? Because
The stomach is just elastic.
Yeah.
So essentially, like a balloon, you blow it up once, it gets bigger to blow up and easier to blow up the second time.
Okay.
So the more often and the larger you stretch your stomach, the easier it is to keep stretched.
But when you all go away together as a team and you share a hotel room, what is the punishment on the can like?
We did have
talk about shitting ourselves.
We did have rooms to ourselves, so there was no sharing or communal toilet. Thank God.
I'm imagining as well because there's a whole bunch of characters. Like everyone probably loves pulling the reverse kanga on each other and stuff like that. Because when I go on a boys trip, me and my mates will always book a big house that'll have about 3 or 4 different bathrooms, usually an ensuite attached to your room. And then the whole game is like, one, not shitting in your own ensuite, but also never facing the correct way on the toilet.
You're crap. That's so. Maybe I was like, and his mates treat each other with respect.
What's it like? Have you pulled just a filthy reverse kanga?
Nah, to be honest, I can't say I have.
Have I just put the idea into your head?
Nah, I'm like a little bit
above it.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not that I'm a neat freak or anything. I'm one of those guys that like just has issues about crapping on other people's toilets. So like, I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna go get a drink, guys. Go back to my own room, come back.
Yeah. Fair enough. Pay your respect.
Yeah. Because
we've all done that thing, hanging out at a mate's house, like, oh, I just gotta go home for a second. So it's like a bit hectic. My first girlfriend, I didn't shit at her house. I had a 2.5-year relationship, didn't shit at her house once because she had the worst house ever in terms of the layout. Their can was literally connected to the kitchen.
Yeah.
That's heavy.
Crazy.
That's rough.
That is rough.
Anyway, back to the eating.
Yeah.
Back to the eating, away from the shitting. So yeah, you're in America for...
And so we got this team captain. He was down in like... They weren't, so we were all training with gallon bottles, 4 litres of water, but he was trying to get the Japanese team, he was trying to show them how he does this thing where he just, a 600ml bottle of water, he just goes, done.
Oh, is this like a bang?
Yeah. So he literally just tilts the head back, squeezes and crumples, because that's how you get the suction effect.
Yeah.
So you normally drink from a bottle of water, you get the air bubble release, like the When you like take that away because you're pressing it, there's no air to escape up. It'll just go straight down. So I remember we spent like a good
cultural exchange there. Beautiful.
Well, we spent like, he's just doing it off the cuff. He could do, because his stomach capacity is like maybe 5-6 litres, he could do 4-5 easy, like 3 litres. He was getting the Japanese boys to try doing it, and it took them a good 40-45 minutes to get the hang of it, because it's not just one thing. You've got to suck in without gagging on water while pushing and squeezing all at the same time.
They're not drowning your lungs.
Well, that's the thing. So you've got to open your passageway but block off your passageway. Yeah. And so after like 90 minutes, they got the hang of it. They were drenched because they'd just pushed so much water over themselves.
In on that, or like listening from outside the hotel room.
There was some giggling going on, trust me. Just like, and they were half drunk, so there was some half drunk Japanese competitive eaters drowning themselves in water. But it was a great night. But it's that like natural, and I don't know how he finds that he's got that ability. I don't know if he's like, he was a sportsman himself, he played some rugby. I don't know if one day at half time he was like, oh, I'm quenched, like I'm thirsty.
Smashing beers down the pub maybe.
Well, he does. He's done some beer skull challenges.
Like we've got a logo, I actually got the video on my phone, I'll show you what we've done, and he can pelican a beer, so he can put his mouth around the whole schooner, and he just goes, and it probably takes maybe, I'll show you later, 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Michael that's the kind of thing if you try to do it and fail, it's like very embarrassing. Like you want to be able to
you practice that shit at
home. So maybe that was it, beers. So what was the trip for? I feel like we're talking about the trip for itself. Because I didn't know you could represent your country. You could represent yourself.
So there's a Japanese TV company, and they've had filmed a TV show every year. Goes to air New Year's Day in Japan, like very well known. Because aside from America, Japan is probably the biggest competitive eating nation in the world. So they did this thing, and obviously Japan's always involved. And America's always involved because they're the two dominant strongholds. Then they would kind of do an invitational thing where they'd try and get some other countries involved, and it just gave some more airtime to the filming. It wasn't always Japan versus America, so that they've had Canada involved, they've had Great Britain involved. Australia every now and again gets an invitation extended, and so there's the most formal body that we have in Australia will then run like a national qualifier, and the top 4 get picked. It's an all expenses paid trip. It's, pretty good week in New York City, but essentially...
Who pays for that, sorry? What?
So that's the Japanese... I don't know the name of the company. The TV program's Battle of the Big Eaters, if you look it up on like YouTube and stuff.
Definitely looking that up.
But yeah, so they actually, like, they'll fly their producers and executives to Australia. They're here for the whole process. They screen you. They make sure they do family backgrounds and interviews and stuff for dialogue in the filming. And then...
I just really want to tell those stories.
Yeah, they love the background of it. It's like the Footy Show doing family pieces on footy players. People like knowing behind what they're just watching for 12 seconds eat some food on TV. And so Australia were fortunate enough to be involved. It was the first year they'd ever had 4 teams. Normally it's a tri-series. So they had Japan, America, Great Britain and Australia. And like we were talking before about there being a big gap in class there, Japan and America are just another level. So when we went head to head in those ties, it was just mildly embarrassing. It was a great honour, but mildly embarrassing.
Are the Japanese known for their technical prowess? Because I know in powerlifting they're always just considered to be and weightlifting, especially very, very technical.
Look, the history behind the Japanese competitive eating. So this TV show, actually, the challenges, the ties, it's always like a 3-tie battle. So you have 2 singles and a double, like in tennis, and they're actually hour long. So you have to eat non-stop for an hour of whatever the one type of food is that they select for you to eat.
Wow, what are some examples?
Have they ever just done Wheat Bix out there?
No.
I'd be dry Wheat Bix.
Yeah. I told a fib. It's half hour, but the Japanese. Nah, gotcha. The Japanese do hour long stuff. So the story behind it, they used to push the speed eating stuff.
Yeah.
And then they actually had, I think it was a relatively young guy pass away. He just choked during a competitive eating competition.
You'd think they would be ready.
Depending on what it is, how big it is lodged.
Do you know what he died of?
Nah, I couldn't. Okay. I just know it was from speed eating, like a short 2-3 minute comp. And the Japanese, I don't know, it wasn't the government, but just the general public, they lost a lot of interest in it. They were like, no, poo-poo, this is bad. Where, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
So, obviously, the people that were still interested in it got together and went, how can we reinvigorate it without having that danger of choking as a hazard? And so they actually started pushing. In Japan, they push a lot of hour-long events because they go, well, it's an hour. No one's going to no one's going to jump out of the guns and sprint for 5 minutes if they've got an hour to eat.
I'm sure there's that one silly goose that doesn't mind it.
Take the lead. So that's what they actually train. They compete a lot at an hour. So when they come to this TV series and film against us, and for Australians and Americans and Brits, half an hour is a long time. So they've kind of got that edge on endurance for a competitive eater, but they are very technical. The way, and it's the difference in class. Everyone on our Australian team, for 10 minutes you eat really strong. You're out there. You're keeping pace. You're doing well.
Yeah.
And then the middle 10, you start waning off a bit. You stop liking the look of the food. You start kind of instead of eating that hot dog in 3 bites, it's taking you 5 bites. And then for the last 10 minutes, it's legitimately a struggle. If you're watching another eater eat, you can see the anguish on their face.
Yeah.
They start slowing down, taking.
Ignore that though, right? Because seeing people are
and it
turns you off a bit.
Oh, of course. But you watch the Japanese eaters, and they go for half an hour, same pace.
Is it slower than your pace?
No. So they keep. They're at the. That's why for the first 10 minutes, we're all confident. We're like, we're neck and neck with them after 10 minutes.
Don't slow down.
There is no. There is no If they're driving at 100 k's an hour, they drive at 100 k's for the full half hour. They get to the end and they still have a cheeky little smile on their face.
I guess that comes from experience as well, knowing your own pace. Very much middle distance running. There's those guys, and then do you have guys that kick towards the end, or is that less of a factor?
I feel like that would never happen. You got to make choice of that window that you have at the start.
Look, in a half hour comp, in something like 10 minutes, most competitive eaters can't actually fill themselves in 10 minutes capacity wise. So you've got
much more of a sprint.
You've got that ability to, if it's close with a minute to go or 30 seconds to go, you can really kind of force yourself.
Have fun with your eating.
And there's we were at an Australia Day challenge in Cronulla this year.
I'll upend it and then just pump it.
You got the wrong plastic. That's impossible. We're at an Australia Day competition this year. doing a cheeseburger eating competition. So just standard cheeseburgers from a
Bit of grease
It wasn't
there, helps it
sausage,
go down.
Bunnings snags?
it was Cronulla. We got to be.
God damn, Cronulla, step up your
That's a
game.
bit too Australian, all right?
Yeah, wow.
They're
So
sensitive about that still.
Yeah.
there was an American backpacker there, big lad, really funny. He'd actually been there the year before. I recognised him. And there's a rule in competitive eating called chipmunking, which is essentially you're on to it.
Does that sort of start
Yeah.
the digestion, and then every now and then you just empty the chips? or is it keeping it in the
So
chips?
chipmunking, the rule of chipmunking is at the end of time competing, whatever is in your mouth, we're talking about orifices and holes before, whatever is in your mouth at the end of time, providing you get it down, you don't take it back out of your mouth,
That's all
counts.
fair game.
Counts.
Oh, so in the last 2 minutes you can start loading the
Yeah.
chips.
So when you talk about that sprint at the end, instead of taking bites and trying to swallow, if you've got 15 seconds left on the clock, you're behind by a half cheeseburger, and you can happen to fit like a whole cheeseburger and a half in your mouth, then keep it in your mouth and get it down within a agreed time frame, usually either a minute or 45 seconds type thing, counts.
Wow.
So we were against this guy, this American backpacker, big boy. Someone I know has got the video footage.
Some loose cheese.
He literally 2 cheeseburgers in his mouth. Like I'm not talking Macca's cheeseburgers, like 100-gram bun,
cheeseburger.
150-gram beef
But
patty,
he's got, like,
cheese.
fucking butter
He's
or-
watching. I don't want to be
No, go
horrible,
for
but
it.
he was a bigger lad, like round faced. He's using fingers like chopsticks to force cheeseburger further into his mouth so that he can fit more cheeseburger into his mouth. And at the end of time, he's sweating. It was Australia. It was hot. At the end of time, he literally his mouth couldn't shut properly, and he just has to sit there until he gets it down.
And what was the agreed on time frames?
We had a minute.
That's
and
still quick though.
It goes quickly, and if you've got zero space in your mouth, imagine no saliva.
Mechanics are fucked.
You can't do anything. You can't even like roll it around. So yeah, he's literally like using gravity to try and shift it.
To massage.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you can keep, as long as it doesn't come back out of your mouth. It was like I've seen a lot of competitive eating. It was one of the least attractive things I've ever seen.
But a beautiful moment.
Oh, yeah, like kudos to him. If I could
Yeah.
fit 2 of the burgers in my mouth, I would have. It's just
athleticism,
the
yeah.
physical attribute to be able to unhinge his
Do
jaw,
that.
yeah.
So Isaac, I want to know, and this is something I always thought about because we like to know the preparation that goes into these things for our athlete. So our athletes we get on the show. So can you tell us like the build up the week before to a big competition like that? It's let's say a 10-minute competition. Then we can talk about the longer ones as well, and then also how you feel immediately after that and what you eat in then during the days post the competition.
Yep. So obviously every competition you need to tailor your preparation for. Something that's speed, you still want good capacity. So you're still pushing that how much you can fit in your stomach, because it comes down to the longer you feel comfortable, the faster you can go at that speed. So if your capacity is 6 kilos and in 10 minutes you only have to eat 3, you can go at high speed for those full 10 minutes. If you start still getting a bit full after 8 minutes, then you naturally start slowing down. So you'll still be doing the capacity stuff, but at the same time, you'll want to work on, obviously, that speed of plate to mouth to down.
So, but when we say working for capacity, are there like standardized things that people will do? It's like, this is a good thing for capacity, just smashing gallons of milk, and that's going to prep your capacity then for maybe like a 10-minute hot dog run? Or is it more just food volume in general when you're working for capacity?
Look, when you do it regularly, a day in, day out type thing, and you're already consuming large amounts of food through the competitive eating, a lot of us train with just water, just straight out water. Because
It goes through.
it passes really quickly. B, you've got no real harm of overloading on anything other than you can sort of demineralize the body. So you got to watch like flooding yourself.
Salt your water a little bit, or you just beforehand eating a good
Yeah.
sodium?
We have pretty high sodium diets at the best of times.
Yeah.
So
This is true.
And it's a bit healthier than regular smashing.
yeah. I know a couple of guys that I know what I like to do is you have, you know what your limit is. So say you're going for 4 litres. I'll try and do 3 litres of water, and then I'll do a litre of green tea. Because green tea is it's a natural diuretic. So you're still getting the capacity in your stomach, but then you're also aiding or easing the process of
Sip or
passing
smash
it.
the tea?
Nah, you got to go as quickly as possible.
Okay.
So you're just going,
Yeah.
not banging it in like the old mate.
I mean, when you're talking...
No pinky extension inside.
Yeah.
Nah.
So you're not pouring cups, dipping the bag on.
The issue with that is you actually take in more air
So how quickly are you banging these 4 litres of liquid?
Look, the quicker you can do it, the better.
Yeah.
As long as you get it in sort of within 5 minutes, then...
That's crazy.
I mean, you do it any slower than that, and you've started processing the original water. Because it's just water in your stomach, it kind of goes through pretty quickly.
Okay.
Like, your body will start absorbing it. So if you're not getting it in within a short time frame, you've kind of defeated the purpose. If you sit down and watch Friday night footy, you got an hour and a half, 6 litres in an hour and a half. It's kind of not the same as if you get it down in 6 minutes.
Yeah.
So
what's your record for 4 litres of water, of liquid?
I've never really gone above 4 litres. There are some guys in Australia now that can push like 6 to 8 on a good day.
It's insane. That's insane.
In America, I know I was pushing while we were over there filming and doing it every day to refresh.
Yeah.
You would literally what you would do for the risk of safety, every morning when you went to have a shower, you would just strip down, get into the shower with your 4 litre gallon, drink it as quickly as you could, and if you were sick, you were sick, and if you kept it down, you had a shower. So you'd be looking at like under a minute, I think, probably 90 seconds.
2 litre chocolate so many times, just like, I want to go to bed, I got to get it done.
But water would be easy.
Well, volume is volume.
Yeah, I mean,
good point.
You don't want to do it if you've already got a heavy stomach, if you've got something in there. So that's why we tend to do it first thing of a morning, because, you've digested for 8 to 12 hours from whatever you ate last night.
Yeah.
And I know majority of competitive eaters will avoid doing a challenge after dark, like after 6, because you literally...
No carbs after 6, of course.
And you won't sleep.
Health goals.
Stomach will be fucked.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You literally, like, even though your body shuts down a lot of processes to help digest, there's just a discomfort level that...
So food comas are powerful.
It's legit,
Do
yeah.
you just nap it off after a comp, or what's the...
You can't. You really can't.
You're just in pain.
So
Yeah.
Is it acceptable? Because obviously puking does disqualify in comp.
Yeah.
But then is there ever any just purge after? Because screw digesting this 8 kilos. Let's move some now.
Yeah. No, look, it really shocked us as Australia. So it's kind of an unspoken thing. Like, no one likes to go, oh, well, they spewed it up, they didn't do it.
Because it's very different. Like, bulimia is one thing when you have an eating disorder. But again, for health, do you want to walk around like a fucking anaconda all day? Like, it's just eating this deer and you can still see the outline of it.
100%.
It's like, I think that's... I totally respect that you don't want to necessarily celebrate purging like that, but I think it's so far removed from that taboo aspect of it, right?
I think, and that's the biggest difficulty. I think the people, like the right-wing people that want to see it as a negative, go, oh, you're glorifying health issues and eating disorders, when really that's not our aim. It comes down to discomfort and personal health. A lot of competitive eaters, if you look at them, are actually really fit people. And so I think they understand that it's not great to have all of that in there. And so many eating challenges are high fat, high carb, high sugar.
Salt is insane.
You're not eating 4 kilos of like kale and
it's not even
mung
kind of
beans.
reasonable conversations about it.
Well, it's just a taboo thing. So what I was getting at, like in Australia, it's very taboo, obviously, especially if you try and, you're trying to promote something, you're trying to advocate it, and they're like, oh, or the biggest thing is they go, it doesn't really count. You threw it up afterwards. Like, you didn't really eat all that food.
For sure, keep it down for 15 minutes. Show everyone that you can if you want to.
Stomach it, it's not an involuntary vomit. 100%. So when we were doing the qualifiers, they filmed the Japanese national qualifiers here in Australia as well in front of St. Patrick's Cathedral, I think. And we were shocked. So in Australia, it's been taboo. And so if you want to do it after a comp, you kind of like, you hang around for that 10, 15 minutes and you're like, gonna go, slash fun. Yeah, gonna go chuck a leak. And and you find the most discreet area and you try and dispose of it. The Japanese team did it. So they were at tables, film cameras and everything set up.
Onto the table.
No. They're so like, if you do it on camera, like, shame. You're disqualified. You will never be seen on that program again. At the end of half an hour, they call cut, and assistants will bring a bucket to the side of the competitive eater, and they literally just turn and throw up.
Get stuck.
Yeah, like, camera cuts, all right, throw up.
Done.
And that shocked us. Like, this is at St. Patrick's Cathedral, visible place, high publicity.
And people, a lot of...
and they had no issue with it. They were like, this is common practice. We do this.
And doing it powerfully, I assume.
With grace. Yeah.
So you never keep it down after that? It's always coming up, or would you just, depending on how you...
Yeah, look, when we were in America filming, and you've got back to back to back, you can't you can't keep it down. You'll like ruin yourself.
But then does it make you sick of the food and you've got to do it again tomorrow?
Well, look, I would never do the same eating challenge or same food 2 days in a row. You don't want to see it for a good period of time. So the way that that TV program's set up is every day the filming's on a different landmark location.
Oh, cool.
And so they get cuisine kind of local to that area.
And you guys just how we know.
Yeah. So I mean,
it's back-to-back days.
I mean, if you're lucky,
also, there's something to be said for like keeping you match fit, I guess.
Yeah. It's good in that regard. And I mean, these are the creme de la creme of athletes in their field. So not only would we film during the day, a lot of the Japanese and the American eaters would actually go, we'd be filming on site. They'd obviously have a stupid amount of food just in case we ate it. So for an example, say they've got, 30 kilos of blueberry cheesecake. During the competitive eating, half an hour, both teams only eat 25 kilos of the cheesecake. There's 5 kilos that the production company have paid for. It's sitting there, it's been dropped off. If no one wants it, some of these eaters will go, I'll take it back to the hotel room tonight and practice with it. And so we'd get back to the hotel and just see some of these eaters who have competed 3 hours earlier walking in with like 3 grocery bags of sliced cheesecake because they're like, well, just taking it up to the hotel room. And you're like, what are you doing?
To practice.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And like, it's just, it's why they're the best at what they do, I guess.
Yeah, and then I suppose, I guess so many questions, but I suppose you might still get a bit more enjoyment, whereas those guys are like, this is a tool for me to compete.
Yeah. I mean,
obviously your Instagram is just burgers, like great burgers from around Sydney, great food from around Sydney.
Is there a part of you that doesn't want to be too much of a foodie so you can just be more objective about what you're eating? Or like, rather than being like, I wish this was pasta when it's cake, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You do it as just, like shoveling coal into the fire, so to speak.
Nah, look, it's probably the why, if you've seen my Instagram and you said, it's a business venture of sorts. So in America and Japan, you can make a living out of competitive eating, a good living. There's sponsorship dollars, there's professional competitions with, Harley Davidsons and $25,000, $30,000 prize checks.
Anyone getting sneaker deals? Yeah.
I'm sure they would, eh? I reckon Matt Stoney and some of these guys, I know one of the big guys, I think he just hit 500k on YouTube, is like an avid cycler. Wow. I bet he's getting some cycling gear.
Oh, really?
For free.
Is he a good cycler as well?
Look, I don't know if he's ever competed.
Cyclist, you shithead.
Sorry,
he's I don't know if it's just a legit hobby. I mean, I don't know anyone who gets kitted up in Lycra and rides 40Ks for fun.
Exactly. Does he smash the food in Lycra?
Ooh, shout out to Eric, the Electric. Eric the Electric.
Yeah, Scott, my mate is right into this because all these names he mentioned to me this morning.
Yeah. So most people have a name, and some are like legit cool, and some you just hear and you're like,
that's not good.
Yeah, that's could have done better. At least you're good. At least you're good at eating, mate. Just keep going.
Yeah.
So so these markets, you can make a full living out of it. So it's your 100% focus. In Australia, there's a bit of prize money if you're good enough. But there's no way that you can really get by on like just being a competitive eater. So that's where I started getting into, as you were saying, would I rather be more foodie for the enjoyment purpose? It's more for the
working on that business.
more so just so I can support myself. There's more money in the social media and advertising and stuff now than in actual competing in Australia.
Yeah. No, mate, it's interesting. You do a bloody good job of it. Like, I forget which place I went to, but you've posted about it, and I've got now a list of places I go to.
Has your photo on the wall somewhere, or do they have a wall of honour or something like that?
Nah.
Also, have you been down to Bondi Tony's yet?
Bondi Tony's is pretty good.
Dude, Bondi Tony's my favourite.
It's very unassuming.
Can you say your favourite burger joint, or you're not allowed because you are a lot of places? Because Bondi Tony's is mine.
Yeah, because what I particularly like about Bondi Tony's, and this is no hate to anyone that is piling like excessive amounts of patties on their burgers and stuff like that, because don't get me wrong, I get in the mood for that from time to time. But I just love how this is just a burger and they focus on just like real nice, just the burger itself. It's understated, so to speak, but it's just delicious.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I get in a mood sometimes where I'm like, just sling me some more patties and add some bacon on top of that. But yeah.
Disclaimer, so I work for a few of the burger places, so that, say bias if you want, or I just choose to work with the good burger places because I have to eat their stuff more often. By chance, my 5 favourite beef burgers in Sydney all follow a pretty similar rule where a lot of them are like mincing their own beef and they're getting quality beef and they're quality control, they're making stuff in-house. And it's like anything. I don't think it's a business to them as much as a passion. They don't just, write a menu, put a product up there and go, all right, like let's sell 100,000 of these and happy days, I'll count my dollar bills. Every time I visit them, they're trying to improve their product.
That's cool.
And even though when I visited them 6 months ago, I was like, that's a good burger, they're still going, yeah, but I can make it better. And I think it's the drive that makes them Sydney's best.
Yeah, nice. I like hearing
So what are some of these good establishments? Because I'll probably go out and smash a burger. What's in the CBD that I can get to fuel my workout today? I've done Barluca, which I thought
look, Barluca, I mean, if you haven't had a Blame Canada, you haven't really lived.
Exactly.
So,
if you haven't thrown fried chicken on it, you didn't have a Blame Canada either. Come on.
Look, Barangaroo, I really like Ume Burger.
Yeah, I've eaten there.
Yeah, it's a bit like Tony's in that it's not your massive, stupid. It's just really clean, good flavours. I like what they do. If you like Milk Bar in Redfern, Milk Bar by Cafeesh, they're baking their own buns in house, which just no one does anymore. Everyone outsources everything.
Yeah.
So to be able to still say like we make our buns in house, we're frying donuts fresh in house. It's good.
Fuck, man, I haven't eaten and I've trained this morning. Been at work since 6 a.m. I got fucking rocket waiting for me back at work.
Oscar, you can't handle much food volume. He gets fat pretty
Are you
easy.
kidding me? I'll
savage.
smash you in terms of eating competition.
Yeah, and you'll get fat. Whereas
No way.
if I could get the same food down,
Oh
I'd
god,
still
I'm
shred it.
leaner than you right now.
Where's the nearest buffet? I feel a challenge coming on.
No,
I
because
destroy.
the thing is, and that's my issue. I eat slow.
Yeah, so when I was a kid, so my backstory, we obviously trained like every morning squads. When I was 10, this is my one claim to fame. Every morning I'd get home from swimming and 2 by 2 with probably a cup of milk and honey, I'd eat between 16 and 20 wheat bixes. And I'd write to Trevor
Vitamins
Hendy
as well, which is
big.
Vitamins. Write
Yeah.
to Trevor Hendy, and he'd never get back to me, and nor would he come on the show, which actually upset me.
It was he's funny.
Have you had Brett Lee? Could you get Brett Lee or any of the other
Maybe
guys
we've
that
had
represented
two
it?
linemen on, but they're Nutri-Grain now, supposedly. They
All
don't.
those guys in those ads, because I remember those Wheat Bix ads.
They don't preach what they practice.
Well, I smashed 6. And it's
Yeah,
like,
George
dude.
Gregan smashed 6. I was like, mate, I'm 12 and I eat 16 to 18 wheat bix.
Swimming kids are
that's
notorious
my
though for
forte.
pounding cereal.
Yeah, we could definitely eat, but me more than the others.
Did you
So
swim
that was
squads
my
growing
thing.
up? Because
Bro, I was in a small country town.
what
I'm
was the
pasty
first
white,
thing-
so
as
I
a
avoided-
youth, were you always putting away multiple serves at dinner, or did you just hit
Like straight up, I was a fat kid. And then, like pre-adolescence, and then like you hit that puberty thing as a guy, you kind of stretch out a bit, grow up, muscle tone starts.
testosterone?
Yeah, you start going, I'm going to hit the gym. And then, funnily enough, like I actually got really, I was enlisted, I was going to join the Defence Force, so I got into a real fit phase, like end of high school, low body fat, long distance running, weights, and then, funnily enough, like I let that opportunity pass to go to uni, and then got into the competitive eating and started getting fat again.
But you're not by any means like, you don't even look overweight. You're not
What's
Nah,
your maintenance
yeah.
calories? Have you pushed your metabolic rate up?
Look, I try and get to the gym like as regularly as possible, and when you're at the gym, like I'm not doing like low weight, high rep stuff. So I'm trying to push that metabolism up by doing heavy weights and low reps and stuff. It's not always. I got four kids under the age of 14, so it's not always easy to get there as often as you'd like, or multiple times a day and stuff. But it is a case of training, not just to work off what you've done, but sometimes in preparation for what's to come. Like it's just, you want your metabolism to be burning at a high level the whole time, constantly.
It's just an uphill battle constantly. And I imagine it gets
Yeah.
harder as you get older. Like,
Yeah.
are the best guys in the world, what's the best peak age to be a competitive eater, do you think? Because obviously, like you just said, you want your metabolism to be running hot.
Yeah.
Obviously, as you get older, it slows down. But then I imagine experience and
Mental
practice has
toughness
a lot
as
to
well.
Yeah. Look, I think it's one of those things that every human's individual. I would have said that, you know, like I've noticed in the last couple of years, 27 now, I'm starting to, the metabolism feels like it's slowing down. The body's, you know, distributing stuff a bit differently. But then when we were in the States with these other countries competing, the Japanese team was quite young. There was a guy on the American team that threw most of the stereotypes out the window. Like he was your traditional big guy, 50.
Not going to the gym.
Yeah, not going to the gym, probably a few health issues, but in half an hour he's putting down like 8 kilos of baked beans.
But I feel like that's almost like the purest in him. Like, he's like, he's just living that fat bastard lifestyle, and I respect that.
If you get into like the science behind competitive eating, people go, oh, like fat guys can eat more.
Yeah.
It's actually wrong. Like,
because your body would be fighting it at that point, right?
I don't know, like I haven't done the research on it, but what I've been led to believe is that when you're stretching your stomach, muscle stretches or can like give more than fat tissue. So the fat tissue actually can like restricts your stomach from stretching as much as if you're lean with
Not
just
that guy, though.
with muscle mass.
He's the exception.
He might have really.
He was ripped. He was just under a percentage of body fat. That was no. But yeah, so he threw that, and he was 50, and like
it makes complete sense though. Why so many of these guys? You look at them and it's like they're not what you would.
They're not as big. Yeah.
Look
But
like.
again, I go back to also some people get good at their chosen craft in spite of what they do.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
100%.
He's just that genetic
He's
freak.
that freak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
Who knows
every
how it-
every
The 1%.
genetic freak you've seen in sport is the opposite of a genetic freak in competitive eating.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just waiting for a Fijian to take up competitive eating because that'll blow us all out of the water. You know they're naturally talented at everything they do.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, even someone like Hafthor Bjornsson.
Oh, but guys like those massive
He's
strongmen.
more grazing, I guess.
Yeah, you look at him. You look at I know I followed Ronnie Coleman for a while.
Yeah. Have you seen any of his DVDs?
No, I've just seen him in like police
He
outfits.
was working as a full-time cop.
Yeah.
When he won his first.
Oh, actually, I've seen some. He would
chicken?
come home and eat like 3 kilos of lean chicken and barbecue sauce,
Sweet
and then
Baby Ray's.
yeah,
all day.
and then he'd head back to the off. Like guys like that. So yeah, they're eating probably like.
Imagine if you call the cops and he rocked up. Like, obviously he's not that athletic, but you would just have that 1 second of like, say he responded to your domestic, you'd be like, oh shit.
Big Ronnie.
Yeah.
Just those speed dealer sunnies under the shorts.
Sweating in
Oh.
Texas.
Um,
So what about a guy like Phelps? Like he's supposedly 10 to 12,000 calories a day.
Yeah.
The thing is, an athlete like that, he's pretty lean. He has obviously a super high metabolism.
The mindset.
Is that so? Yeah. Is that someone
Yeah.
you think could be a force in competitive eating?
Look, there's a couple of guys. One in Melbourne, one here in Sydney. It's definitely one in Melbourne. He actually like competes in bodybuilding and stuff, and so he just cycles through it. Actually, there's a couple guys in Melbourne that do it. They cycle through it where, you know, obviously when they're shredding for comp or something, they're full health mode diet conscious, and then when the minute post comp finishes, they can just pick up competitive eating and they're really good at it, and then to get back into competition again, they go through that bulk mode.
Yeah.
So they kind of allow themselves to eat whatever they want anyway, and then shred again. So it's almost like this 3-phase cycle that works to their advantage because they're getting the calories they need.
Yeah.
It's just maintaining the training and stuff around what they're eating. So I think someone like, I'm not saying that Phelps would be good at competitive eating. He can eat 12,000 calories a day, but can he sit down and eat 12,000 calories in one meal?
Yeah, true.
I doubt it.
Yes.
His stomach size is probably not big enough to.
Depends how many cones he punches before.
Yeah, that would help.
Well, what was the last American swimmer done for? The blood doping.
Lofty,
So
yeah, he was done for, no, it was like rehydration or something.
Yeah.
IV,
What do you mean?
Like Ryan Lofty just got done last week.
Yeah,
for,
posted on his Instagram
yeah,
that he was.
Was he the one that made up the story about getting?
Yes. Just came back from
And he was
suspension.
also the one that was all coked up in Vegas racing Prince Harry.
Nice.
The
for real?
before, yeah, after
American swimming represent.
American swimming. Hey, you preach the choir. I love Phelps. Lofty, yeah. You gotta love his stories, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's the difference. He could eat a lot of food, but I think you'd need to break it down into a lot of small meals for him to consume it all.
Yeah. Look,
Is there anyone that you see out there in sport where you're like, or you've heard about some guys, and you're like, I want him to get into it, or
I'd like to see him have a go. Or her.
Not so much sport, like
or just the Polynesians?
yeah, I'd love to. There's a guy in I don't know what nationality he is. There's a guy in Melbourne that I would say has some Polynesian heritage. That's an absolute beast when it comes to it. And he's also doing some like WWE wrestling stuff on the side, I think.
That's
so yeah, good luck to Sven down there in Melbourne. But it's more the haters, to be honest. Not people like of physical attribute or other sports.
Not a sport.
People,
Like,
no. Look, you get really sick and tired of people going like, "Oh, I could do that. Oh, that doesn't look that hard."
Oh, no, though. Like,
Yeah.
stuff like
Okay,
Yeah,
we've
that
all
tall poppy
polished-
I never want to
syndrome.
hear I could do that out of anyone. What you should say is, here's me doing it in any fucking case.
Exactly.
Yes.
No, never talk about doing things.
Yeah.
Do them. Unless you're just trying to motivate yourself by saying it publicly, I totally understand that. But yeah, that shits me no end. Oscar's going through this a lot right now where Oscar can't dunk. It's
I'm trying to get
very close.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks they can dunk.
Everyone goes, I can dunk.
Yeah.
And I've
Show
been
me.
trying for 8 months, or just under 8 months, and I'm literally like getting rejected by the back of the rim now, and it's just like, I'm at wit's ends because I'm ready for that post where I'm like, everyone who's told me they can dunk, submit your videos now, here's mine.
Yeah.
But like, going back to what you were saying, every grown male has eaten, I'm sure, a large pizza and a bit of garlic bread and like, competitive eating, I could do it.
Ooh.
But that's because you enjoyed that and you're like, I'm full now, and stopped. I just imagine that's like the first 5 minutes, and then there's 25 minutes to go.
Definitely. And look, it's sometimes it's got nothing to do with yourself. We did a dim sim challenge in Melbourne once, and it's the mental strength. So half an hour challenge, fried dim sims. I'm sure we've all had one in our life. So 15, 20 minutes, you start getting full anyway. 22 minutes in, a guy projectile vomits 22 minutes worth of dim sims all over himself. Then,
and surely that rule, if you're beside him, you're just like, bro, like,
you're still eating. Meanwhile, the referees and judges say you're disqualified. He goes, what if I re-eat what I pull up? Finds the biggest chunk of dim sim he can and eats it again. And you've got to try and maintain focus, keep eating at the pace you were doing, not absolutely lose your shit and throw up or laugh along with this guy. So
what an absolute pig! You were like, come on. Don't get me wrong. There's levels that I respect.
Admiration,
like, at a certain point, like, just the lack of shame.
So yeah, sometimes it's got zero to do with yourself in terms of like your comfort levels and just that focus.
Because it's on the ground at that point, so he's on his hands and knees.
Yeah, 100%.
Like a pig in mud.
Skipping it up.
That's crazy.
And then at full, like at the end of the half an hour, when you feel your least well about yourself, he stands up, takes his shirt off, and just starts hitting his stomach like George of the Jungle. It was
just fucking hitting.
Yeah, and you're like, then you can't help. It's like when someone gives you that, they just say something and you instantly get the visual image. Like watching him hit his own stomach, you just imagine how that would feel on yourself.
I imagine there were a lot of retirements announced after that. People were like, I'm out. That guy's a savage. Just don't want to hang with him.
I think there was a little flag put up, like a RIP competitive eating, just in the corner of that room that day, because I doubt the venue will ever want anything to do with it again.
That? Can I look that up tonight?
Oh, look, there was a lot of cameras around. Whether anyone caught that on footage, I don't know. If you hit up at Jimmy's Burgers, he was the guy who hosted the event in Melbourne. Yeah.
What are some other crazy things you've seen or stories
some
that you've been?
feats.
Yeah, some crazy shit. Like, oh wow, don't see that every day.
Nah, yeah. Look, there's some stuff that's like just ridiculous. I remember watching a mate from Melbourne, Hulk Smash Food or Cow Stubbs. He ate like a 4 kilo bowl of spaghetti bolognese with his hands. And like spaghetti
would hold you back, right?
Well, spaghetti bolognese is like not a clean thing to eat at the best of times with sloping and stuff. So
there's divisions between like utensil versus hands. Like, do they force you to use a fork as part of the sport, or it's generally just getting it in?
No, it's more about some smack talk. Like that Cal or Hulk in particular. Like sometimes he'll compete against people using their hands with a knife and fork just so that he can kind of embarrass them a little.
Eat like a gentleman. And
It'd be like he's that pinky off guy while you're like struggling and ripping and tearing and snorting to get through stuff.
Comes with just establishing a pace as well.
Yeah, and knowing knowing, as you said, knowing your body where, you know, worst case scenario when you get into a jiffy, you can tools down and still come back from it. Yeah.
Is this a sport where females and males compete together?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Well, so you're going to ask the question later, I think, but one of my greatest athletes or competitors in competitive eating that I admire is an American female that we got to meet while we were over there, an absolute beast. And like pound to pound, better than probably any male eater.
So they're sort of, I guess, different records, like pound for pound kings, and then...
No, like there's no weight division. And there are a few, so like Nathan's Hot Dogs, they do have like a female and a male winner, although they, I think, compete against each other technically.
Yeah, I've never seen...
There's no segregation.
I see women up there, men up there, just going for it.
I think it's just a case of they will say, oh, well, you are the best performing female, you're the best performing male.
Yeah.
In Australia, except for the one hot dog comp we have where they do a full females, it's the biggest thing at the moment in Australia, participation wise, is to encourage women to do it. Putting them up against guys who have been doing it for a long time is a little bit.
That's more where the discrepancy is. Not the genetic predisposition. They haven't been exposed.
And no one wants to get embarrassed. People just want to. It's never fun if you're kind of like getting smashed by everyone else around you.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they've tried splitting it and categorizing it so the women can have their own fair crack at each other.
Yeah.
And there are still some that do it. I wouldn't say professionally, but they've competed 2 or 3 years in the same event in a row. So they obviously have a large interest in it.
Yeah.
But not to the extent of the guy division where...
Well, it's a bit different as well. Like, I feel like men will celebrate each other's eating feats. I don't think chicks have a cute sleepover.
Yeah, there's some societal issues. Yeah.
No chicks spewing it up and going, oh, I'm going to eat it again and smashing her stomach.
Yeah.
Well, although back in the day, my mate hooked up with this girl at a house party, biggest sort of lady, and they're at Macca's the next day just by chance. He rocked up with his mate, he'd forgotten what he's done, and my other mate goes, oh, look behind you, he turns around and this chick, three big girls, and they're eating, and they've eaten a heap of burgers, like a family meal deal each. And one of my mates is like, you won't do it, and she's like, I'll fucking down it, and just smashes this burger. So I'm like, I'll try and find out her name, and maybe we can put out an invitation. This is your girl.
Yeah, I know.
It was about 8 years though.
When I first met my now wife, and we were kind of dating and seeing each other.
Did you just look up at a buffet and see a hot girl just hoeing into some food, and you're like, oh.
She commented provocatively on an Instagram post of mine. I remember when.
Tell us off there what she said.
Wait, I will, bro. I will. So when obviously like. You don't sit down like on a first date and the first thing they're like, so what do you do for a living? You're like, oh, I'm a competitor.
Like,
Yeah. So you kind of, you like get...
No words needed.
Yeah. You get over the awkward phase and then you try and introducing them slowly into what your hobby is.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I don't imagine anyone rocks up like, so I collect stamps. You want to marry me? So, sorry to any stamp collectors out there. But...
Roast them.
So when I started like getting like suggesting to her that I did it and that it was something that was a legitimate thing and not just like I like eating a lot of food.
Yeah.
I remember her saying like what? Like 10 McDonald's cheeseburgers, and I was like, yeah, it's a starting point. She's like, I could do that. I could do that. And so I buy 10 McDonald's cheeseburgers. And she got through 7 of them.
Wow.
But as you said,
And you're just instantly on medium, just like, yes.
Well, I was like, there's potential. I can work with this.
7, I couldn't eat 7.
Cheeseburgers. Yeah. But again, just for like a girl, I'd be pretty impressed by that.
Yeah,
for sure. 10 cheeseburgers, there you go.
I might actually do that this afternoon after my work.
See, I just
post-session.
I don't shit my pants on the train.
Please do.
Again
Trust me. McDonald's is one of those cuisines that has the reverse effect. You're not going to shit yourself.
Maybe we should do an eating competition. Because we did like one-on-one challenges for Instagram.
Just had a bit of a nugget problem the other
day.
So we should do it. What is your favourite food for a competition?
What should we go ahead
to? So 2 questions. What is your favourite food to eat competitively, and then what should we do? And give us a time frame.
Look, I think the beauty of burgers and hot dogs is, and like for like, they're kind of nice ratios, meat to bread to moisture.
Yeah.
You get something like pizza or chicken nuggets even, and it's kind of like a lot of, like pizza's a lot of dough, a lot of chewing, it's very crusty.
Nugget is just straight nug.
Nugget, like you can have all the dipping sauces you want in the world. Nug's a nug.
Yeah.
Whereas with a burger or a hot dog, you presumably get...
could you put away in 10 minutes? Just throw something out there.
Look, to be honest, I've never tried it. I reckon I could get 100 under the belt easy, yeah. I know there's a guy that's... I think the record's like 240 in the world, I think. Yeah, somewhere around that, yeah.
Powerful.
Wow. So go back to the original question. Favourite food to eat?
So burgers or hot dogs, I reckon. Like I once upon a time I thought
hot dogs. We have to do burgers.
I used to be a pastry chef. I used to work in chocolate, and so obviously eating a lot of sweets through my line of work and stuff. I thought, dessert challenges, walk in the park. I've got this. And then you do a couple, and like I spoke about the pancake challenge, you really don't understand how sugar affects the body until you eat it non-stop for half an hour.
Stuff is the easier.
Yeah, 100%.
What about like a couple of stems of broccoli? Do you think that'd be easier or
Oh,
harder?
No. Like if you had half an hour, like raw broccoli would be shithouse. But like if you had like half an hour's amount of 5-6 kilos of steamed broccoli put in front of me, that would be easier to eat. I think it's texturally it's softer.
Yeah.
Anything where you've got the one flavor is kind of a ball buster. Like if you can break it up, that's great.
Yeah.
But
some Nando sauce on that bitch. Yeah.
Just salt and season the crap out of it.
Okay, so we're doing burgers.
Macca's cheeseburgers, because I feel like they're pretty consistent.
No, I was thinking we go down to
it.
Bob House Tony's and try and get him to sponsor it, and we chuck it out.
And I think Tony'd be like, oh, no.
Yeah. You never know.
Anyway, we can just heat up cheeseburger.
Yeah,
I'll throw down the Savo if you want.
No, not the same. I got a nice dinner book.
Just get Macca's cheeseburgers, but film it like vicariously in front of Bondi Tony's, and just be like, yeah, but product placement, Tony, come on.
Yeah, only if he says no. Burgers.
It's like your e-gamer.
Do you know Tony personally?
Nah, look, I've spoken to him once or twice.
Okay.
He's a good bloke.
Yeah, I think he lives life to the fullest. So he's not the easiest guy to get a hold of.
Yeah, I bet. Anyway, we should get into our scripted questions.
Yeah.
Sorry, let's go whack this back on. I sent out the question first is 5 favourite athletes of all time.
All right, do you want explanation, justification, or just 5 favourite athletes?
No, explanation.
Yeah, okay.
Fun. Yeah.
So, first and foremost, he's a bit of a twat at times, but like Cristiano Ronaldo is probably the longest admiration of a sportsman, going back to like when I was a young kid. Just, I think, he's arrogant, he's showy, he's all the things that you don't want to see in a sportsman. But
when you're the best in the world, like,
well, that's he backs it up.
How good do you have to be before you're like, oh, I'm good?
Yeah, I think a lot of people can talk the talk, and they've walked the walk once in their life and live off it for a long time.
Yeah.
I like Cristiano's been doing it for.
He just keeps.
Yeah, like 3 continents, multiple clubs, multiple awards. He just, no matter what people kind of put against him, he gets on the pitch, he performs. He does what he's paid gazillions of dollars to do. So I have a lot of respect for that.
And he's got that little LeBron effect as well, where he hasn't just necessarily he's been in good teams, for sure.
Nah, yeah.
But wherever he goes, he brings success with him.
Yeah.
Except for Real, because he walked and Juve. He's off to Juventus. I feel like that team is already absolutely stacked. But Real dismantled them. Or not really in Champions League, because he was that was when he scored that crazy bicycle kick.
Oh, look, as much as I said he brings success wherever he goes, I've never seen 90 minutes of Ronaldo playing.
Okay, well,
sometimes I just say things.
He's been put on some pretty stacked teams. But yeah, Ronaldo is crazy. And probably a guy that doesn't get mentioned enough as he should on this show, because he's fucking crazy. And also, everyone, go watch
Messi under the table.
No, go watch how, just as a pure athlete...
Eating challenge right now, Cristiano versus Lionel.
Yeah, how high he can jump when he celebrates. He does his celebratory jump. He'll literally jump, like, his vertical would be crazy. Like, it's insane. Something you don't often see and notice on a soccer player.
I wonder if it's on the internet anywhere, like his sports testing capabilities, stuff like that, like vertical jump,
My favourite
skin folds.
People break down, they say, oh, he's quicker than Usain, which he's not, but they try to break it down. But there's no actual, like, stats. Like, even athletes, we don't have much.
Like, the beauty about the NFL is there's literally, like, a stat-by-stat breakdown of everyone.
And a lot of them have come from track and field, so you know even more in depth if they have been a specific hurdler or 100, but soccer players, not so much. Because I'm surprised how often we get guys on our show and I go, what's your vertical, what's your max this, what's your max that, and they don't know, and it would be amazing. Like, even we had a parkour guy on, Dom Di Tommaso, Dom Tomato on Instagram, definitely check him out, and I think his long jump would be elite, but he's never tested because he's never been in a field.
We had an ice skating background, but just back to Ronaldo, my favourite thing about him is he's often been criticised for being like too muscular as far as like what's optimal for the sport, and his whole thing was like, I know, but like the ladies like it, so, and I'm still good, so deal with it. Like I really like that attitude.
Number two, probably being a Queenslander, Jonathan Thurston.
Yes, fucking
I
finally come good.
Yeah, the year he retired.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
The small country town I grew up in, not from North Queensland, but he actually came to sort of southeast Queensland to play, to go to high school, and he was playing like some early days football before he got picked up by the Bulldogs.
That's why we get really salty about that, because we let him go, and apparently when they let him go, he cried.
But I love Thurston.
So you can credit the doggies for putting that chip on his shoulder.
I'm going to say, you win some, you lose some. Like, the Cowboys got Thurston, they just lost Ponga. So it's 50-50 so far.
Who actually might be coming on, it will be coming on the show in a couple of months.
So maybe shout outs to Kalen,
we'll make sure he looks who you are.
Yeah, sick, bro.
On the map.
But yeah, I mean, I remember watching that grand final he played at the Bulldogs, and he was like a nobody. Came on, gave his grand final ring to Steve Price.
Such a good bloke.
Straight off the bat.
Yeah, amazing.
And then had to wait 30 to get his own one.
Get his own ring. Oh, that would have been so tough.
You reckon Steve Price would be sitting at home feeling a bit guilty, just like
he would have loved seeing charge down King.
Yeah, absolutely love it.
But I mean, you look at it's the stuff that happens off the ball. The fact that every kick off a tee, he takes that tee, gives it to the kid, gives the kid a pat. It's just admirable things. He's not just an amazing footballer, he's like a good bloke.
That fucking laugh of his.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Have you seen the montage?
Yeah. If there aren't like a million memes of that laugh, then there's something wrong with the tech world.
Yeah.
So those two.
Just quickly speaking to Queenslanders, did you see Sam Thaiday released his autobiography this week? It's called Tries, Lies and Meat Pies.
No, for real.
I should be able to hang with you briefly in an eating challenge.
He did a cooking segment on the Footy Show a couple of years back. I reckon we could tee something up.
Yeah, okay.
That would be awesome, man. The Footy Show would
down.
love someone like you on there to do something like that. I
Reach
suppose you're doing all this stuff and it's going to lead to all these things.
Shout out Footy Show. Just any time now.
Yeah.
Number 3, probably Tim Cahill. Again, one of those guys that probably wasn't the most naturally gifted kid at sport.
Yeah.
Like
an Islander playing soccer?
In Australia, yeah.
Yeah, he's Samoan.
He's got Samoan heritage, I think.
Yeah.
But you look... Like, he's one of those late bloomers. You look at if you followed the EPL for any length of time, he was playing for Everton, who were like a mid to lower table team for a long time. And a lot of people, the bigger clubs, passed over him. Because he was solid, but he wasn't spectacular. He wasn't worth the transfer funds and stuff. But then you talk to coaches and players around him, and he's that moment guy. When you need something to happen in a moment,
he does it.
He pulls it. He's not amazing at 90 minutes of football, but when you need to pull something out,
together.
Yeah, he's in the right spot at the right time, and he's never had an ego. He's never gotten into the media and been like, I deserve to be at a bigger club. I deserve more, right? He's just been a solid bloke for a long time. Yeah. And he's always represented Australia well. He's always done the right thing by us. So those 3. After those 3, I kind of started to struggle a bit, for reasons in terms of they're great at what they do, but are they great people? Why do I admire them? That sort of thing.
Still throw me.
Of course.
We can separate the personality from the athlete if you want.
Yeah.
Because it's great that you have that top 3 where you've factored that in, but throw out some assholes if you want.
Some assholes.
No, our number 1 guy is either Mike Tyson, Conor McGregor, or what's the other?
Yeah, and they're all kind of like shit bags.
Yeah,
but like you can just watch them on YouTube.
Just appreciate what they do.
That's why I like this question because it's such a personal question, and it goes like my guys. I support them because they're not the greatest athletes. Obviously, they're great, but they're either super trendy, fashionable. Those sort of things make them my favorite athletes.
You're also an idiot, so
look, but that's the thing. It's all personal. So like your guys are all great blokes.
Can you dance? Please say you don't. That would be so good.
Dude, no one can.
Have you never seen White Man Can't Jump? Like, come on.
Under 6'4", there's not many people that can dunk.
No.
We've had a guy who's 5. How? 5'9".
Can the park ball guy would be able to?
Oh, sorry, Greg Knuckles. Are you talking about? Because he can dunk.
But we've again never seen footage.
I believe.
I want proof.
We had a 5'9" guy and he has a 50-inch vertical. Nico Dunks. He's a beast. He might be getting picked up by Puma.
Yeah, legit. Nice.
Beast. Yeah.
Very cool.
Sorry, go on with the rest of the top 5.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, it's highly personal.
Class in competitive eating as a sport, I'm going to throw in Molly Schuyler. I would nearly guarantee you've seen footage of her and not known it was her. She's like, I reckon, a 55 kilo American woman that can put away 72 or 108. It was literally like 6.5 kilos of steak in under 10 minutes.
Wow. Steak would be hard with the fat and stuff as well.
What do they give
and
you
chewing and
sinew? Is it like ribeye or are they just throw minute steaks?
Oh, I think it's just a cow with its legs cut off and then like cooked on an open fire. Yeah. It was in. I want to say it was another one of those famous man versus food challenges, and the actual challenge is like the one steak in an hour. And she did 3 of the steaks and the sides in like under 12 minutes.
Is that like it the one of the Simpsons reference?
It's like the one. It's like on a highway. It's in Texas. It's been in movies where like people doing that cross America trip go, let's stop and do a steak challenge.
You get to the middle and it's raw because
pretty
it's so
much
hard to cook. Yeah.
And not just that, but there's a baked potato, there's some slaw, there's all the sides and trimmings that are Americanized.
Besides get, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what people, they're like, oh, I could eat a big steak. And you're like, yeah, could you eat a big steak, like a sack of potatoes and the rest?
Yeah.
And
like
that's what gets them.
Dude,
Yeah.
I couldn't even finish. There was when we were on the road with the boys, we were playing in Newcastle, and the venue we played at had a meter-long hot dog challenge, and I tried to put that away before we went on stage. And then the worst thing is, the whole time I was on stage, they were advertising the hot dog on the TV, so I was just staring at it the whole time I played after. I just felt so gross. I got probably 80 centimeters of it down, and I was just like, wow, by the end of it. It's so much sausage.
It is. It really is.
Hey,
But you would laugh at... you just laugh at a 1 meter hot dog these days, right?
Yeah.
Depends on the girth.
Stop going with the better than that. It was pretty funny actually on the wrap up the other day. Now you're just like crawling around the ground looking for that low hanging fruit.
Hey, come on.
How fast can you pop away a 1 meter hot dog?
There's a place in, so I used to live in Melbourne, which is why I keep making Melbourne references. There's a place in Melbourne on Chapel Street that still to this day does a meter long hot dog challenge, and they've got like a wall of shame and a wall of fame with Polaroid photos, and I think the record, like I can do a meter long hot dog in probably like 3 minutes, 2 minutes.
So after they saw that, did they just move everyone onto the wall of shame and stick you there?
Nah, because I think there's a time limit. I mean, if you eat it, I think you make the wall of fame just eating it, and that's why it's kind of like, you know, everyone gets
you destroyed
acknowledgement. Oh, it's not even the record. Like there are guys that I think have done it in close to a minute.
Wow.
Or less.
But is that more of a specialist, I guess?
Well, yeah, like other guys in this field better than me.
Like, were you just on always like, oh, all right, I'll do it?
Yeah, pretty much.
If you trained for it, you'd be better at it.
Yeah. It's one of those things. But because of it's probably easier to eat the meter long hot dog than to eat a meter's worth of small hot dogs because it's just the one process. Like imagine a timber mill and you're just pushing a long stick through the bandsaw, 100%, as opposed to multiple sticks through it.
Yeah. And then last athlete?
Look, in terms of modern, like I'd probably have to say Usain.
Yeah.
Just for what he's done for international sport and like even now that he's like, oh, I'm just gonna give up like what I've made a living for and get into professional soccer because I can, is kind of like.
The rest of the batteries out. Sorry, keep going, mate.
Nah, you're good.
Ignore us.
So yeah, I think like. I don't know him personally. Obviously, he seems like a bit of a fun larrikin when he likes going to nightclubs and stuff. But I think that's what you've got to like about him. He has fun. Like it's not just the bane of his existence to like train, win. He goes, oh, but there's like life balance.
But I think that's
if I want to eat KFC and chicken nuggets before a race.
It seems like that's also something that helped him, though. I think to sustain 3 Olympiads. I feel like people still lost on a lot of people how hectic that is, because sprinting is especially one of those sports where you really have to keep your shit together at the right time, and he's shown that time and time again. Especially there was that World Championships, I think it was either 15 or 16, where Gatlin was looking like he should beat him, and he was in better form.
Rio.
Are you sure it was Rio where he went flat-footed?
Oh no, that was World Champs.
At 15? Yeah, and then Gatlin just at the last minute, he went to lean forward too early, whereas Bolt just maintained his stride and just threw that strong mental game, and probably honestly not giving a fuck. He just got him done.
100%.
The frustrating thing for me with Bolt is I feel like when he was actually at his peak, we never actually saw him run a hard race. He always would like take
pulled up
the piss
early.
at the end.
Yeah.
Can you just show us what you got? Come on.
We spoke about that with Brendan Stark, the high jumper, last week. Like, we asked about athletic primes, I think we were talking about, and I think when Bolt was in his athletic prime, he probably didn't even realise, which is when he was 23, I think around 9.58, and sort of pulled up at the end.
Yeah.
And
That's
if he ran
crazy.
towards the line, who knows? Because you can get injured real easy in that sport, and it might affect the rest of your career. I guess last question. Actually, 2 questions.
Yeah, so this is going to be with off you. So if you're on your death row, what would your last meal be?
Oh, it'd have to be a burger.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
How many would you put yourself down for?
Picking which burger would be difficult. Have I got Uber Eats? Can I just get multiple burgers or just one
Yeah,
burger from one place?
Yeah, you can smash it down.
Yeah. I'd probably get... There's a place in Melbourne, St. Berg's.
Okay.
If I'm dying and I've got one
savour
burger
or do you
left...
smash it just in the spirit of, your life?
Just for the
I reckon
berries.
you have one bite, savor that moment, and then smash it.
Smash it. You got to go out
Yeah.
and true to yourself
Yeah.
and what you're all about.
Or do you just say, save the lethal injection, I'll eat myself out?
Yeah, I'll eat myself out. Oh, nom nom.
It'd be a fitting way to go.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Right, Isaac. Thanks heaps for coming on. One more question. Who is a rapper you would have rap about you, and what would you like them to say?
LL Cool J.
Nice.
I was hoping
yeah.
you'd say Fat Nick.
Oh, I don't even know Fat Nick.
Nah, it's one of those.
No one knows him.
He's pretty fat. And he likes
He's a
eating.
friend, isn't he?
LL Cool J. Nice, old school.
Yeah. LL Cool J. And I don't know what I'd want him to say about me.
What do you think, Angus?
What should I say? Eating related.
Isaac's like the name Isaac doesn't really rhyme with anything. Maybe you could like chuck some lyrics together about like eats a lot and then like beats a lot because it's R&B rap.
Nice. Something more the R&B style.
Yeah,
rap,
like
nice,
old
soft,
school
smooth.
like parachute pants type stuff.
Nice. I like it. All right, Isaac.
That was
Thanks
really
for coming on.
interesting.
Plug your social medias, what you've got upcoming, everything.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. So follow me on Instagram at Isaac_eats-a-lot, Facebook Sir Eats a Lot, Chukru is what the brand that we compete and organise events and stuff under. Don't really have any comps or anything coming up in the near future. We've kind of just gone past the season. Yeah. But certainly if you're following those channels, you'll see what's in the near future.
What's going on? All right, guys, there we have it, episode 89. Make sure you check out Isaac's page. I can definitely test that some great recommendations on there. Angus, anything else?
No, I'm gonna go eat a big burger before I work out.
Yeah.
It inspired me.
All right, Isaac, thanks again for coming on.
Take care, guys.
That was good.
Cheers, man. That was good.